We've talked on the YouTube channel a number of times, guys, about the Quake franchise and how this is one of those founding father games in esports as a whole. And I don't think there's really any debate at this point, guys. This is the game that's, goes back to the 90s and a franchise that is really over time done incredibly well. However, we haven't seen a direct continuation from a story perspective since Quake 4. And with that, guys, I wanted to go ahead and talk about Quake 5 because this is a game that's having a lot of rumblings, a lot of talks and speculation that Quake 5 very well may be coming out in the very foreseeable future. So let's talk about it. So obviously, guys, the newest game in this franchise is Quake Champions, which, came back, back in 2018. However, it's a, free to play and it's only a multiplayer based experience. And with that, there's nothing wrong with that. I love the multiplayer experiences and that's what really brings people in when it comes to the Quake universe. However, I think people have been waiting for quite some time now for, a continuation off of Quake 4 and a continuation in a kind of capacity of a campaign as a whole. And so if we look at the list of the games, guys, that have come out in Quake, you had the first Quake, then the second, and then of course Quake 3 Arena, and then Quake 4 came out, and then you had Enemy Territory Quake Wars. You also, of course, had mission packs with Quake 1 as well as Quake 2. But with that, Enemy Territory Quake Wars came out as well, and then followed, of course, by Quake Champions in 2018. So what am I getting at here? Well, here's the thing. Quake Champions, guys, absolutely something that I think people are certainly excited about, people are enjoying at this point in time, even though it hasn't been fully released as of yet. It is a free-to-play game, though, however, and I think that people enjoy it, and that's what Quake's all about, is really the multiplayer experience. That's what brings you back to the game over and over again. However, there's definitely this sense that people want a true continuation of the Quake franchise, that being in the form of Quake 5. And so with that, guys, I think we can kind of base a lot of this on, even though we haven't gotten an official announcement of Quake 5 at this point, we can base a lot on Quake Champions when this game is, essentially fully released to everyone. A free-to-play game. I think that what ID Software is thinking at this point in time is they, have a multiplayer side of Quake that, of course, is free-to-play. But then Quake 5 maybe is the continuation of the story. And maybe they, of course, add things along the way to Quake Champions. It sounds to me, though, guys, that Quake Champions is going to be the long, drawn-out multiplayer experience for Quake. So if you want to play Quake from a multiplayer perspective, you go to Quake Champions. If you want to play a single-player experience or even maybe some co-op experiences, that's where Quake 5 is going to come into play. When will we see this game? It's incredibly hard to say, guys, because obviously with Quake Champions not 100% released as of yet, okay? It's free to play, and it's been free to play since 2018, but I don't think it's like a fully, fleshed out, the game isn't 100% even released at this point in time. So what I think we can kind of look at is when this game finally does become, fully released, that's when we can start looking at the time frame of a Quake 5. I believe, guys, that Quake 5 is actually in development at this very point in time. It's probably in the relatively early stages over at ID Software. I don't see why this is a game that is not, in development at this point. We look at another title from Bethesda, which being, of course, Doom. And Doom, guys, has done an incredibly good job of not only doing a really fun, exciting story, but they also have done a really good job of making it a fun multiplayer experience. The battle mode is certainly something unique, and that's what I really enjoy about Doom Eternal. And I think you have similarities here with Quake. Quake, guys, is one of the founding fathers of esports, and I think it's really important that this game continues to exist amongst other esports titles out there, and I'm sure it will. I just want them to be, there to be a lot of emphasis on Quake, because I think it's important for the scene as a whole. Not saying that games like Doom aren't important for the scene, because I do think they are, but for esports as a whole, Quake is incredibly important. And so I think that even though Quake Champions has a lot of people enjoying it, there's a lot of people that are very skeptical and feel that it's not the true continuation of Quake that they wanted. And so hopefully over time ID Software can kind of get this game to a place in which it feels like a good old Quake title. And so with that, guys, at this point in time, what can we expect as far as, Quake 5, and when can we expect it to come out? Because the things that we know so far is all speculation, and it's all a bunch of rumblings and talk and leaks and such that Quake 5 is in development at this point in time. What I will say is this. I believe that Quake can learn a number of things from Doom and Doom Eternal and just the franchise as a whole, because what Doom has done really well, guys, is not only make a really solid story, but they also created these multiplayer experiences that in this game and title is starting to grow over time. And so what I'm getting at is Quake can do something similar here, can do something really special with this title, and hopefully with the upcoming title, that being Quake 5. Now we'll have to kind of wait and see, guys, with QuakeCon and other, of course, conventions that will be coming up throughout the course of the year, seeing if Quake 5 is in development. I think if we were to find out about Quake 5, it would be at QuakeCon here in 2020. And so I'm excited about that. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, we get an announcement of Quake 5. And what that looks like, it's hard to say, but I am nonetheless incredibly excited about the future of this franchise, because I think that I trust ID Software as a company, as a developer here with this Quake franchise. They know it means a lot to so many people, and that this is one of the staples in esports. It's important that it stays that way, and it really makes a significant comeback in a number of ways. But with that, guys, let me know what you guys think. When do you think we'll get an announcement of Quake 5 at this point in time? Are you guys wanting a Quake 5, or is Quake Champions enough for you all? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Quake 5 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.